Offsite Dirt.
Welcome to Offsite Dirt. One of our favorite conversations here is high performance. So to give you all the dirt on high performance, we are bringing in our friends from Mesana. My name is Mark Willey, and I'm joined by Audrey Gerbesic.
Hello, we're super excited about this conversation because it's all about high performance. And the very cool thing is we get to talk about hydronic technologies. Wow, I cannot wait for this one, Mark. I am going to learn so much. And we have Sal and Alessandro here. So I'm going to send it over to Sal. Give us a little bit of your background, and Alessandro, you pick up next. And then we are going to start off with some great questions today.
Hi, well, yeah, my name is Saul, and I went to school out here. We are in the Santa Cruz area, it's like south of the Bay Area. So I went to school out here. I finished up school, and I ended up at Mesana, and it's a great company to be at. We have some really interesting stuff going on. I majored in business management economics, but I came over here, and I've kind of taken over marketing. So you'll see me on our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and we're always trying to educate on our technologies, more specifically radiant cooling.
Hello, my name is Alessandro. I'm one of the founders of Mesana. Been living in the US for 23 years, still a big Italian accent. Yes, I'm Italian. This is where the technology we're presented today, it's actually coming from somehow. And I'm the CEO of Mesana Inc., the company that distributes this technology in the US.
So, Alessandro, thank you for this. This is not a term that everyone understands. We may have heard about heating and cooling in our spaces, but a lot of times people are stuck with a closet they don't know about and a filter that probably is clogged. And then we may have heard about radiant heating. But radiant cooling, the first time I heard about it, of course, was many years ago, and I've been enchanted with your technology ever since. Radiant cooling is so incredible. So there's benefits to this, and it's a systems approach. Walk us through what we're seeing.
Yeah. So first of all, as you said, everyone knows what radiant heating, but nobody knows what radiant cooling is, and I want to tell you why and what it is. So first of all, why we don't know about radiant cooling, and basically to understand radiant cooling, you need to know more about radiant heating and what it is. Heat is energy, is thermal energy, and we have like a physical definition for heat, but we don't have it for cold. Like cold, it's not a physical phenomenon. It's like, oh, I'm cold. It's like a human sensation, right? So heat, it's thermal energy, and heat can transfer. Second dynamic law, it's thermodynamic law. From if you have a warm body and a cold body, there is energy that we transfer from hot to cold. And we can say that this transfer happened by radiation. So this is what we can define like radiant heat, energy transferring from warm to cold. And like the easier example of radiant heating is up in the sky, is the sun. And the sun radiates and heat Mother Earth. So where am I going? So what is then radiant cooling? There is no such a definition, like a physical definition. So the way I like to define it is like negative heat. So basically, if you have a cooler body, there will be radiant cooling radiating toward the warmer one. The reality is that it's the other way around. It's heat being released toward the cold. So basically, radiant cooling is a technology that works on heat extraction from a building to cool the building. So it's an HVAC technology. So the point is then, how do we get some cold body in the building. So we invented the panel. It's Ray Magic. It's this panel that is back here, and it's an hydronic system going to the ceiling, and we pump cold water into the panel. The panel has tubes, and the whole ceiling surface become cooler, and everything in the room that is a higher temperature will radiate heat, and it will actually get cooler. And so that's what radiant cooling is in a few words.
Wow, I feel like it's me and my husband when we are in our bedroom and my body is burning up and his is like super cold. And so we just need to have your system with us. We would be good. That was actually a very, very good explanation.
Exactly. You will be radiating some heat over your husband. You will get cooler. And if you hug him, it's actually even more effective.
I love it. I love it. So natural temperatures, dehumidification, and mechanical ventilation. What are the benefits with your system in using this product?
Yeah, you want to take it?
Yeah, please.
So Mark had mentioned our system approach, and going into that neutral temperature dehumidification and mechanical ventilation has to do with our air treatment units. But before we talk about that, I just kind of want to talk about the whole system approach. We have these sensors which are what really allow us to provide radiant cooling. They monitor operative temperature, relative humidity, and VOCs, which is volatile organic compounds, and that just means indoor air quality. But from those first two things, relative humidity and operative temperature, we know the dew point of every zone. And so that's the big fear with radiant cooling. If we get the panels too cold or your walls too cold, there will be condensation. And so we had to avoid that. So we developed sensors to monitor that dew point. And then we also had to develop controls like this guy right here. This is one of our control boxes. But so this is the brains of the whole system. It looks to the sensors to know what the dew point is, and it can tell the panels, hey, you need to be a little warmer to avoid condensation. But it could also activate forms of dehumidification, which is what you had just mentioned. And so we can pull moisture from the air that lowers the dew point temperature. And so that allows us to use colder water within the panels, and that increases our cooling output. And so it's a whole system. We've really focused on the controls here recently, and now we can control other hydronic terminals as well, not just the panels. But yeah, that's a quick little bit on our system as a whole.
You know, the smart system right there of the sensor, it's a necessary component, because people go to, you know, the fixture on the wall or on their handheld device, and they're dealing with the moment at hand, and they want to press the arrow up or press the arrow down based on what they're experiencing. The sensor is saying, hey, we understand that that's what you're feeling at the moment, but this is what you really need, right? Because it's monitoring that. While we're thinking of temperature, this is already including that level of humidity in the air, which is what is adding to it. I think that sensor is so important. And I would say, even if folks have no idea what all these technologies are yet, understanding that the sensor is smarter than our quick reaction brain, that's important.
In Mesana, we have a philosophy that the Mesana system will be delivered without any thermostat on the wall. And we believe that the less the user know, the better it is, meaning that you don't have to go on your thermostat and arrow up, arrow down all the time. And so we want the system to be intelligent and understand what the comfort level is needed. And Saul was mentioning that the sensor also measures the operative temperature. And I think this is a key thing to understand, because the operative temperature is the closest sensation of a human body judging hot and cold, and it's based on sensor that we have on our skin. So on our skin we have a sensor that measure heat and cold, and so this is why with a traditional air system we are measuring the temperature of the air, and you never satisfy what our body needs, because it's either too hot or it's too warm. And so that's the key. We need to have a system that will adjust both humidity and operative temperature in a level that it would be just comfortable and no need to go and touch the thermostat all the time.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. It's smart technology, which I absolutely love. Just curious, can this system that you use be used on new construction and existing construction?
Yeah, and the panel is it goes into the ceiling, and for a new construction, obviously, a great system to consider for a new house. And the fact that we do radiant and hydronic on the ceiling, it actually open up doors for remodel. It's actually easier if you want to go hydronic to redo the ceiling than touch the flooring, because it's very invasive on the flooring. There is the flooring, there are furniture, there are cabinets, and if you raise the flooring to add some pipes, then all your steps needs to be redone. So it would be a major remodel if you touch the flooring, while the ceiling allows you to do a easy upgrade of your conditioning system. And obviously, yes, new construction is our biggest market, and we do typically high-end residential, like commercial, like small offices. We've done schools, we've done some hospitals, and so it's a technology that opens up to basically every kind of construction.
You know, this is such a great factor. Like, we could giggle for a minute and say, we've never seen a sofa or a carpeting on a ceiling, right? That doesn't get placed there. But also, our buildings in the world of high performance are tighter and tighter, and the walls are thicker and thicker. We've seen that for years in Europe and more in the US. So with that happening, and people coming in and out of our spaces, cooling is actually done more often than heating, right? Because we're walking around, we're furnaces ourselves, the energy we're giving off. And traditional systems, we can all agree, are not consistent, right? There's that one part of the house that you're always uncomfortable in, right? Totally.
Yes.
And so when you have this consistent layering, I mean, look at this beautiful ceiling above me, right? You have that consistent layering. We know that heat goes to cool. And so when you're providing that cool layer there, whew, I'm already refreshed. Like, just the name Mesana is refreshing, right? And the product itself is sexy. It delivers a good feeling.
Yeah. By the way, Mark, yeah, we're talking a lot about cooling, but heating is free. Like, we just need to run hot water on the pipe, and then the ceiling becomes cooling. So and again, this is radiation. So who cares if it's on the ceiling or if it's on the floor? You know, after all, like we were talking before, the sun happened to be on our head. So radiant heating doesn't need to be on the floor. It's a radiation system. So from the ceiling, we can effectively do cooling, but we also do heating. And there is like a nice flat, unobstructed surface. So
yeah. The first thing people always say is heat rises, and that's not the case. Hot air is what rises, so we can still radiate that thermal energy, just like Alessandro's saying.
Amazing. So how easy is it for architects or the installation of this product?
Yeah.
How easy is it?
Yeah, sure. So I can speak to the installation. So these panels are really very light. There's not much to them. It's an EPS foam, a stamped aluminum plate, and then our piping, it's PERT and PEX piping. So installers love it. It's really easy to just put up. You staple or screw it up. It's mounted 24 inches on center in between ceiling joists or furring channels. And so, yeah, installation is very easy, and architects love it as well because of how little space it takes. It's not the same as a traditional forced air system where you need these big ducts, a lot of duct work. Here, it's just our panels. You're running these hydronic lines that are just it's PEX piping that's insulated, and you run those to the panels from your manifold's location. And there you have it. Not as much work for architects. Go ahead.
I noticed that you have the panel on your ceiling. So.
Yep, I wish I had one right now in my house. It does look pretty amazing. So you put the panel up, it's easy installation. It helps with heating and cooling. It's not in the floor system where you have to go. I mean, that's all we talk about is like, heating the floor and then the floor goes up. I mean, it's pretty brilliant that you're starting at the top of the ceiling and then radiating and also being able to control it. And we also know that it's easy installation. You then put, are you able to put like drywall on top of that? Does the drywall go, so you have this as the layer and then drywall goes on top of that, correct?
Exactly. Correct.
Amazing.
So there is something about the drywall that we like in a radiant system. The drywall has a very low thermal mass. So as soon as we activate the ceiling with hot water or cold water, the temperature get like in a few minutes, the ceiling will be hot or cold. If you do that on the floor, there is much more thermal mass depending on the flooring and so on, but it typically takes hours to adapt. So our system reacts very fast and you can go from heating to cooling in no time.
And one
This
last
is great.
question, and
So-
I'm going to let you take it, Mark, but I have one last question because it's buzzing in my brain. So can I, as a consumer, measure my ceilings, talk to you, and then purchase your product, install it myself? Or do I need someone, or do I need like a certified plumber or HVAC person in order to install this product?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, good question, Adri. Even though the panel itself, it's a very simple system to put together. They have like a fit-in, and I would think that this product could be available in do-it-yourself on a shelf in Home Depot. The problem is that it's an hydronic system. So behind building the ceiling, you need to install a heat pump. There are pumps to pump the water. So this is when you want to have an hydronic installer to do the system. And we do have a training program. So we certify installers, and most of the time is actually the homeowner coming to us and they are intrigued about our technology. And then we help them to get an installer. And if they have an installer that they want to work with, we will welcome this installer here and provide the training, or we do like a startup at their house and like a kickoff of the project and train on the job site. So the answer, yes, we want to work with the hydronic installers.
This is fantastic. So that does answer it. The consumer reaches out to you, and then the marketplace, as per standard, the heat pump specialist and the plumber, they take care of the connections needed to feed that process in. And your drywallers do what the drywallers do. They pop it up, they give the plaster, they give the paint. It's all pretty.
Yeah.
So we will definitely have to have a hydronic installer come back on the show. I know you guys know the right people for that. So, Alessandro, the systems you've developed here, the sensors you've developed here, the consistent temperature delivery is incredible. This is the joy of Radiant. This is the joy of hydronic. We're glad to have you guys on the high performance build part of Offsite Dirt, and you're welcome back anytime.